21st century learning is where we should be headed right now in both public and private schools. It is a different way of conceptualizing how students learn in a classroom situation. It goes beyond the classroom.
Get together and share your questions.
Kids now in elementary and middle school, because they have been alive during this 21st century, they are wired differently. So schools need to become relevant so they become much stronger and independent learners.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you know those little seats like on the
Shopping carts?
I think we have to radically rethink the way students learn and teachers teach in order to prepare students for the future. The way I visualize 21st century teaching and learning is, as much as possible, it allows students to take ownership of their own learning, to become agents of their own learning. What we don't want is for students to be passive recipients of information and to see their teachers and their parents as responsible for their education. We want them to learn as much as is developmentally appropriate, that they are agents of their own learning.
In a traditional setting, there's a lot of rote memorization, and there's a lot of rote maybe thinking. This is math, this is spelling, this is reading, we're going to do this. In 21st century learning, it's here's the idea, let's explore it. And then reading and math and language and everything will just sort of pour in to assist the student. What I generally do is structure my curriculum around something I call big questions. The first is usually, who am I? So we just do a little bit of discussion of ourselves. We also work with what's in a story, is conflict a means to an end? And these are big enough so that kids can find some sort of nugget inside of there that they'd like to explore. And they end up doing some sort of a presentation with these big questions. It keeps them focused for a long time, and they have to learn a math concept, for example, or they have to learn a certain punctuation skill because they need it to present findings, for example, or to finish up some research. For our colonial unit, we end up doing a simulation, and it goes on for several weeks. It starts with the selection of 3 or 4 ship captains. Meanwhile, the other students have become a blacksmith or a chandler, something like that. Then the kids take one of the tables, turn it over to make a sailing ship, and then they have to sit inside of that. And it kind of gives them that feeling of claustrophobia, of being on a ship. Before they're allowed to come off the ship, they need to make a set of rules for their colony, similar to the Mayflower Compact. In the next few days, they'll be starting to make a model of their colony. How are they going to eat? Where's the fresh water? It's the ship captain working with that other small group to come up with a scale model of a working colony. And then it takes them some days, even weeks, to get this model together. Every day they'll choose a card, and sometimes something good happens, or sometimes it's terrible. They've had a terrible storm or a terrible drought, and all their crops die. They really learn what it's like to have that fickle finger of fate, come and mess up their plans. And then they make an audio tour of their colony. They have to say, well, from the gate, if you turn west and you go 15 steps, and it will take you X number of minutes to get there. There's math involved, and then they play that for the rest of the class, and we all enjoy it.
21st century learning is the best of progressive education combined with a very intellectually engaging program and the latest findings in brain research, which are shedding a great deal of light on how we as humans learn and retain information.
Kids, when they're engaged, learn better. Parents have talked to me about how their kids they jump out of bed in the morning and they're so excited about coming to school and getting on with the project that they're working on. We want them to be curious. We want them to be creative. We want them to critically think. Those are the skills that the kids will need when they're 20-somethings.
21st century classroom is individualized for the different students. It is crackling with excitement. It is not a one-size-fits-all approach to education, and it results in kids who are enormously engaged and excited learners. And I think there's no reason we can't have it here in Portola Valley.